right, state, call your first witness.
State calls Ashley.
Cindy, do you need a cough drop or anything? All right. All right, could you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, make sure you speak up so that members of the jurors can hear. You can lower your hand, state your name for the record, and if you could spell your last name, please.
Ashley Buenteo, Buentelo.
Buenteo. My witness judge.
Yes.
Miss Buenteo, there's a microphone in front of you, so I'm gonna ask you to use it because you're a little soft spoken, okay?
So-
No, if the one that you should. All right, and did you spell your name for the court reporter?
Yes.
Okay. How old are you currently?
I'm 28,
Okay, and what city do you currently live in?
San Antonio, Texas.
And how long have you lived in San Antonio, Texas?
My whole life.
I'm gonna reposition because I'm having.
Okay.
You could just move a little closer.
Okay.
Okay, so how old are you again?
28,
Okay, and what city do you currently live in?
San Antonio.
Okay, and how long have you lived in San Antonio?
My whole life.
Okay, what school did you attend in San Antonio?
Linear.
Linear High School?
Your Honor,
Linear
I'm so
high school,
sorry,
yes.
but I still cannot hear the witness's answers.
All right, so you'll need to lower your mask, please, so that everyone
Well,
can hear.
or at least bring the microphone up.
All right. And just make sure you speak loudly. All right.
Sorry, I'm gonna ask you to lean into the microphone, okay?
This one?
Yes,
Okay.
okay. So how old are you?
28,
There you go. What city do you currently live in?
San Antonio.
And how long have you lived in San Antonio?
My whole life.
Okay. And what high school did you attend in San Antonio?
Linear high school.
Okay. And do you work currently?
No, ma'am.
What do you do for
I'm a stay-at-home mom.
stay-at-home mom?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and why are you here today?
To talk about the events that happened in 2017.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn you back to that date, April 23rd, 2017. Do you recall you were with that day?
Yes, ma'am. I was with family members. I was with my tios, my husband, and my grandma,
Okay, and so what's your grandma's name?
Janie Reyes,
Okay, and what are your tíos' names?
Paul Caballero, and Ernest Reyes,
Okay, and your husband, what is his name?
Raul Quintero.
Your Honor, a juror has raised their hand.
Yes.
What's it?
Oh, I'm so sorry. So here's the thing. As jurors, you're not allowed to ask. No. It's fine. Sometimes, we don't know. So jurors, you're not allowed to ask questions. If you're not allowed to hear what a witness is saying, raise your hand and let us know. But the state and the defense, they are the persons who will be asking the questions. And if there's a question that you would like a witness to have been asked, you will just have to go with the questions that both sides have asked. Right. All right, you may continue.
Okay, and when you say tío, what does that mean?
He's my tío,
Like your uncle?
my uncle. Yes.
Okay, and can you just say briefly how you're related to them?
He's my mom's brother, and that's my mom's mom.
Okay. And so, what were you all doing on that day? Do you recall?
Yes, we were getting stuff ready for my grandma's upcoming birthday party that we were planning.
Okay. And were you traveling in a car?
Yes,
Do you recall what kind of car that was?
we were in a red Chrysler.
Okay. And Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
So I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit
Okay.
1 and State's Exhibit number 2. Have you seen these photos before?
Yes, ma'am.
And are they a fair and accurate depiction of the objects that are contained within on the day of the offense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Your Honor, Kinder for inspection. The state offers states 1 and 2.
I am so sorry. I can barely hear what she's saying. What did she say to the people? No objection.
All right, State's Exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted without objection.
May we publish, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been entered into evidence as State Exhibit number 1. And you've just had an opportunity to look at that, but is that the red Chrysler that you were traveling in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and can you tell me who's in the driver's seat?
That is my uncle Ernest.
Okay, and who's in the back seat right there?
Down is gonna be my grandma.
And in State Exhibit number 2, can you tell me who's contained in that photo?
That is Paul. He was in the front, and that is my husband, Raul.
Okay, so just for clarity, in the front passenger seat, who was sitting there?
Paul.
Okay, and then in the back, directly behind that, who was sitting there?
It's Raul, and then me in the middle, and my daughter on my lap.
Okay, thank you very much. And so you guys were traveling in the car, and ultimately, did you guys end up at the light at McCullough on 410 access?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and when you pulled up, do you recall what color the light was?
We came to a red light.
Okay, and was there cars in front of you and behind you?
Yes.
Okay, and so at some point, did somebody get your attention?
Yes, there was a woman who came up to us because our gas tank was open, the lid.
Okay, and so when she informed you that the gas tank was open, what did the people in your car do?
Paul was the one who got off, and he went to go and close it. And then she informed us that the vehicle
Objected
behind.
hearsay, confrontation.
All right, that objection will be sustained as to
Okay.
hearsay.
So you can't say what the lady told you,
Oh.
but so you said Paul got out and closed the gas tank, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, do you recall what kind of vehicle was behind your red Chrysler?
It was a black 4-door vehicle. I'm not sure what.
Okay, and at some point, did your attention turn to that vehicle?
Yes,
Okay, and why is that?
because there was a altercation that was going on, and so we all turned to look what was going on.
Can you please describe to the jury what you observed when you turned around to look inside of that car?
When I turned to look around, I did see McIntyre in the passenger side.
Your Honor, I'm going to object. Can we approach?
Yes.
Ms. Linville, and how do you know that the person that was in the front passenger seat name is Mac?
After like when they ended up catching him, I guess, like the news.
Gonna
All right,
renew my
so-
objection, Your Honor.
Yes. Your objection is sustained. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you disregard her answer with the name McIntyre in it. Does everyone understand? So you're to disregard the question and you're to disregard the answer.
Your Honor, we would respectfully move for mistrial.
That will be denied. You may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. So can you, without naming the person,
Okay.
can you describe what the person in the front passenger seat looked like?
He was a black male.
Okay. And the person that was driving the vehicle, do you recall what they looked like?
She was a white female with blonde hair.
Okay. And so when you turn around and you look in that black four-door, what did you observe going on in that black motor vehicle?
There was a Mexican that was sitting in the back, getting beat up on by the people that were in the front and in the back, sitting with him.
Okay, and so when you say the Mexican boy that was sitting in the back seat was being beat up on, who was exactly beating up on him?
Just the two guys, the black male in the front and then also the one in the back.
And did you see anything in the hands of the black male in the front?
Yes,
What did
The-
he have in his hands?
it was a handgun, a black handgun,
Okay, and where was that
and
pointed at?
he was also using it to hit him.
Okay, so it was being used to strike the person in the back seat, is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay, and so the person in the back seat that was being struck, eventually what happened with that person?
He somehow ended up getting out of the vehicle, and we had thought that was it, but he ended up getting on top of the vehicle after.
Okay, and so when the light turned green, what did your car do?
We ended up taking the right that was right there because with the gun situation, we had my daughter, so we ended up turning to safety and they ended up going straight.
Okay. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
So I'm going to show you what's been marked State's Exhibit number 3, and you reviewed this before,
Mhm.
correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're familiar with the area where this occurred, right?
Mhm.
And so this is a fair and accurate depiction of the location, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Shed.
No objections.
All right. And that's State's Exhibit number 3.
Yes, Your Honor.
State's Exhibit number 3 is admitted without objection.
Okay, Ms. Winfield, and so, can you see that okay up there?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and so you see where I'm pointing at, that's McCullough Avenue, correct?
Mhm.
And so, where I'm pointing at right here, is that where your vehicle was stopped at the red light?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so earlier, you said that your vehicle took a right, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so that would have been traveling a right down McCullough
Mhm.
Avenue? Okay, and so then where did your vehicle go from there?
We ended up turning to the left into the shopping centers that are right there.
Right in here?
Yes.
Okay, and so when you turned into the shopping center, what did you hear? Did you hear anything at that point?
We heard one gunshot.
Okay, and after you heard the gunshot, did you see anything associated with the Chick-fil-A?
We saw the black vehicle speeding off.
Okay, and is that the same black vehicle that was behind you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and is that the same black vehicle where the Mexican boy got on the hood of the car?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you said you observed it speeding off?
Yes, we had saw it taking a left that way, and we were coming from this side.
Okay, so you're right here, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you're saying you see that black, come out through here and take a left, is that correct?
Yes, speeding off. Mhm.
Okay. And so, once you see that, what do you and the people in your car do?
I mean, once we were at the gunshot, we were just like talking about it, and then passing the Chick-fil-A, we ended up seeing him rolling on the ground.
And when you say him rolling on the ground,
The
Right.
Mexican. The Mexican?
The Mexican boy that was on the hood?
Yes.
Okay. And so when you see him rolling on the ground, then what do you do?
We got off the vehicle, me, Paul, and Raul, and we ran to him.
Okay. And when you observed him, the Mexican boy that was laying in the Chick-fil-A parking lot, that's the same person that you observed in the black Kia getting beat up on.
Yes,
is that
ma'am.
correct?
Mhm.
Okay, and so when you observed him, did you notice if he had any injuries?
He had a big bump on his forehead.
Okay. And did you make contact with officers on that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and did you provide a verbal statement to the officers on the scene?
Mhm.
Okay. And we passed the witness now.
All right, defense.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you?
I'm okay.
I just have a few questions for you. The first is, did you meet with the prosecutors at all in preparation for your testimony here today?
Like 2 weeks ago?
Okay, you met with the lawyers themselves or with the advocate, or do you remember?
With her?
With Ms. Galloway?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you review anything in anticipation of your testimony?
Just everything that happened, like from the cameras.
You reviewed your previous statement?
Mhm.
Okay. And so you were standing outside the Chick-fil-A when you gave that statement to police,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. I mean, yes, sir.
And you recall you were explaining to the officer several things that you had learned from other people in the parking lot and who were waiting for police to arrive. Do you remember that part of your statement?
No.
You don't remember the officer telling you to only tell him what you personally saw?
Oh, yes, yes.
That happened, right?
Mhm.
So there, by the time you spoke to the police, you had already spoken to several other witnesses to the incident, correct?
No, just the people I was with.
Okay, so you had talked amongst yourself.
Yes.
And how many people were in the car?
5 of us.
Okay, and what seat were you in?
I was in the middle and the back.
You were in the middle and the back.
Mhm.
Okay, so you didn't see the altercation first. Who saw it first in your car?
Paul.
Paul?
Paul. He
Was
was
the driver?
no, he was the one who got out to close the
The gas tank?
yes.
Okay, so he got out and closed the gas tank, comes back into the car and says, there's some people fighting in the car behind us. Is that basically it?
Yes.
Okay, and that's what prompted you all to turn around.
Mhm.
Do you know how long roughly that light that you all were parked at lasted?
It was a good minute.
Okay. Minute, couple minutes, something like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so what you saw happened very quickly.
Yes.
Okay, and is there tinting on that car? It looks like it from the photographs they showed you.
On our car?
On your car, yes, ma'am.
No.
There's no tinting at all?
No, not like out the back window.
Uh-huh.
Maybe the sides, maybe, but not out the back.
Okay. And you're looking at the car directly behind you?
Yes, there's the car right behind me.
Okay. Is it parked like bumper to bumper? Is it parked back a car length? About how far from your back bumper would that car have been stationed?
The very next car, like
Okay.
right
And-
waiting for the red light.
And you were watching for the whole time that the light was red?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you had someone in your lap, right?
Yes.
And so when you say that you're watching it, are you talking about craning your neck, or are you talking about you repositioned your entire body so that you're
No.
looking that direction?
Yeah. I'm looking back, like
Okay, but you know, basically your belly button's still facing forward. You're looking back this way?
no, I like turned. I was able to turn.
So more like kind of a side view.
Yeah.
Okay. And there were how many people did you say in the vehicle?
Well, 6 including my daughter, but it's 5 of us.
Okay. Fair to say that there are obviously things in that car that block a full view of everything going on in the car. You'd agree with that, right?
And, like,
Well, there are 2 seats in the front part of the car, right?
mhm,
There's a driver's seat and there's a front passenger seat.
mhm.
And there are people occupying those seats, right?
Yes.
You can't see through the people or the seats, right?
No.
And so you can't see the parts of what's going on in that car that are obstructed by those seats and those people, correct?
You're talking about the
behind?
vehicle behind us?
Talking about in the vehicle behind you, when you're looking into that vehicle, you
Mhm.
can't see what's obstructed by the front passengers and the front seats, right?
Well, you can because the Mexican was sitting right in the middle. So like, given those two that were in the front, you were able to see what was going on in the middle.
You can see what's going on in the middle. You can't see what's going on either side of the middle, though. You'd agree with that?
Yeah,
Okay. And so you can't say definitively who had a gun and who didn't have a gun amongst all the people in the car, right?
the only one I saw was the one in the front.
But there's nothing about what you've testified to today that you want to convey that there weren't other guns, right?
Not that I know of.
Okay. And you don't know who pulled a gun first, right?
No,
The altercation had already started when it was brought to your attention that it was happening, right?
yes,
They were mid-fight when you looked at it.
yes,
Okay. And you said that the Mexican man got out of the vehicle, right?
mm-hmm.
And he continued to, I guess, argue, verbally gesture with the people that were still in the car.
I mean, he got out, he kind of like made a run for it, but they had already closed the door. And as soon as the lights had turned green, he was on top. I'm not sure, like, we didn't have the windows down to hear what was going on.
And you didn't see how he got on top.
No, well, yeah, he just jumped up on front.
Okay, so you saw him jump on top of
Yes.
the hood of the car? Okay. So did you see him crawl over anybody as he exited the car?
No,
Okay, you just saw him exit the car.
we just saw him exit the vehicle.
Okay. And you saw him stomping on the windshield?
No, we didn't see that part.
By that point, the light had turned green, right?
Yeah.
And so cars were beginning to move,
Mhm.
right? I'm sorry, ma'am, yes or no?
Yes,
So your vantage point is at that point changing as your car is moving and their car is moving, right?
yes,
Okay. And you didn't actually see the gunshot, you just heard it, correct?
we just heard it, yes.
By that point, you're parked further over towards the music store
Mhm.
and not in the Chick-fil-A parking lot proper, correct?
We weren't parked, we were driving because we had just turned in there just to turn in there to get away from all of that.
So you're driving away from all of it and you hear a gunshot just in the car.
Yes.
Okay. That's the witness.
No further questions, Judge.
All right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
He's by the seat.
Excused by the defense, Your Honor.
All right, the rule has been invoked. What that means is you're not allowed to watch anything about this trial, and you're not allowed to discuss your testimony with anyone. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, make sure you leave the clip. And you are excused.
Oh, back that way?
State, call your next witness.
Yes, the state calls Paul Caballero.
All right, and if you can have him if you put that little mic on your shirt so the court reporter can hear. All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so that the jurors can hear. If you'll state your name for the record and spell your last name, please.
Paul Caballero. Last name Caballero.
All right, state.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Caballero, well, one, nice to see you again. I've seen you a few times for this case. Is that right?
Yes.
And we met here in the courthouse. Is that right?
Yes.
And I'd like to go ahead and jump right in and ask you if you remember that day back in April of 2017, on the 23rd of April to be exact. Do you remember that day?
Yes.
And speaking about that day, were you in a vehicle that day with some of your friends and family?
Yes.
And do you remember where that vehicle was located on the road in San Antonio?
Yes, we were on 410 and Monk. Hello.
I'm sorry, what?
410 and Monk. Hello, sorry, I stutter sometimes.
No problem, no problem. If you don't mind, that first mic that's in front of you, just make sure you speak into there so people can hear you, okay?
Okay.
I'm a little hard of hearing, so just bear with me. But one, what do you remember what type of vehicle that was that y'all were driving at, or rather that you were riding in that day?
Yes, we had a red Chrysler 200.
And Your Honor, may I approach? I'm
Yes.
going to show you some items that have already been entered into evidence. State exhibit number 1 and state exhibit number 2. Are you familiar with those?
Yes,
And are those photos of that Chrysler that y'all were in that day?
yes,
And does it also show individuals that you know in those photos?
yes,
And if in state exhibit number 1, can you identify the individual that's driving the vehicle?
yes. Ernest, my
Ernest?
partner.
Thank you. And then who, do you see somebody in the back seat there?
Yes, his mom,
His mom, and what's her name?
Janie Reyes.
And in state exhibit number 2, can you identify the person standing there?
Yeah, that's me.
That's you, okay. And then is there anybody in the back seat that you can see or identify?
Yes, Ashley and Raul and her baby.
And her baby, I guess you can see the top of the little baby's head there.
Yes,
Okay, so in addition to you and Ernest, which was the driver, is that correct?
yes,
And do you remember where you were sitting that day? Were you sitting in the front passenger seat or the back passenger seats?
and the front passenger seat.
Front passenger seat, so next to the driver.
Yes,
And then is that where Raul was, in state exhibit number 2, is that where he was seated at the time?
yes,
And also Ashley and the baby?
yes,
And then, of course, we got Janie Reyes sitting all the way to the left in the rear.
yes,
Okay. So this is accurate of how y'all were seated when y'all were at the intersection also?
yes.
Okay, thank you. Now, speaking of the intersection, I'm going to show you what's been marked state exhibit number 3. And are you familiar with this map?
Yes,
In fact, have I shown you this map before?
yes,
And so you've seen this map before. Can you point out on there where that intersection McCullough and 410 is?
I'm sorry. It's right there.
And then where was your vehicle at?
We were right here behind the truck that was in front of us.
Behind a truck that was in front of you.
Yes,
So there was a truck in front of you and then your car.
yes,
Okay. So on this overhead projector, I'm going to zoom in here. Now I'm going to point to where you pointed. You pointed to this vehicle right here.
yes,
And that's, let me make sure. This is not a map from that day. Is that correct?
no,
I mean, some things have changed on this map, but generally this is how it looks.
Yes.
Because that's the main intersection. It hasn't really changed since 2017.
Objection, speculation.
Got to be overruled. If you know the answer, you can answer.
I'm sorry. If you can repeat the question, please.
Sure. This intersection hasn't changed much since 2017.
think so.
The actual road, it hasn't moved.
Okay, yeah, no, the road's the same. I'm looking at this over here. Sorry.
Hey, bad question. I'll move on from that, but this is the intersection that we're speaking of, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And you, like you stated just previously, that this vehicle right here is roughly where y'all are at that stoplight. Is that
Yes.
correct?
yes,
And well, let me ask, were you stopped at that time at that light?
yes,
And so is it assumed that did y'all have a red light?
yes.
And when you were at that light, did anything catch your attention?
Yes, there was a lady that was on the site that told me that my gas cap was open.
Gas cap was open?
Yes.
And so you're at a stoplight, so what did you do?
Well, I exited the vehicle and put the cap back on.
And, you know, where was the cap in comparison?
It's on the passenger side.
Passenger side? So let me see if it's. Okay, so state exhibit number 2. Show it to you again. Is that the gas cap you're speaking of?
Yes, it is.
So it's on the passenger side. Do state exhibit number 2 here. Little zoomed in, but I think we get the picture that there's the gas cap is right there. Is that correct?
Yes,
And this lady told you that the gas cap was open
yes.
and then you exited. So what did you do at that point?
Well, at that time, as I was putting on the gas cap, she did tell me that the car
Objection,
behind her.
hearsay, confrontation.
Sustained to hearsay.
I'll rephrase the question here. I'll ask you, well, let me ask you this. Did you ever replace that gas cap?
Yeah,
Did you
yes,
close
I
it?
closed it. Yes.
And after you closed the gas cap, what were your actions right after you closed the gas cap?
Well, the car behind us, I saw a gun. So at that time, I proceeded to get back in the vehicle and told my partner, as soon as that light turns green, for us to make a right to get out of that car's way that was behind us.
Well, let me back up a little bit.
Okay.
And without telling me exactly what she said, did the lady that had mentioned the gas cap to you, did she mention something else to you?
Objection,
Yes.
hearsay, confrontation.
All right, the answer is either yes or no. You're not allowed to state what a witness has said. Do you understand?
Yes.
So that question requires a yes or no answer. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right,
And I think you answered the question if I'm correct, but
Yes.
did she also mention something else to you?
Yes.
And can you tell the jury, like, what was her demeanor towards you when she was speaking to you about this?
Just very cautious,
Very what?
cautious,
Cautious?
like worried. Yes.
Okay. And then what did she say to you then?
Objection, hearsay, confrontation.
all right. So can I have parties approach? Yes, you may proceed.
After this lady talks to you, what do you do next?
I get in the car and then I told my partner once the
Objection,
light turns
hearsay,
green.
That's going to be overruled. It's what he's saying.
Yes, Your Honor, but it's still he's relaying his out-of-court statement.
All right, that objection will be overruled.
You can answer the question.
I said once the light turns green to make a right.
All right, and the court will note for the record that that answer was previously stated.
Thank you. And then what did you notice about a vehicle behind you?
Well, I looked back. I had looked back and I saw a passenger. He had a gun. That's what I saw. And then there was a little kind of like scruffle, like if he was fighting with somebody in the back seat.
Was somebody, okay, so there's a struggle,
Yes.
and let's just break that down. Did you turn around and look, or did you look in a mirror? How did you look to the car behind you?
I turned around and looked.
And so were you in the vehicle or were you outside your vehicle when you looked?
No, I'm going to object to leading. He can just ask him in a more direct way how he approached him and what he saw.
All right, the objection will be overruled. You can answer the question.
I was in the car.
And so which way did you turn around, or to your left or to your right? Do you
I
recall?
believe it was my left.
And so if it's to your left and you're sitting in the passenger side, that means are you looking through the back window of your
Yes.
vehicle?
Yes.
And so what were you able to see?
I saw the passenger of that vehicle fighting with somebody in the back.
And let's talk about that person in the passenger seat in the car behind you that you mentioned. Do you recall what that person, what that person looked like?
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
My question was, can you describe the individual that was in the passenger seat in the car behind?
He just looked real young.
Sorry,
He was real young.
real young.
Yes, young.
Do you know what, was he white? Was he Hispanic? Was he African
Hispanic.
American?
Hispanic?
Sorry?
Hispanic?
And may I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the presentation of that document unless he's laid a foundation for past recollection and refresh.
I don't know if that's what he's doing because I don't know what the document is. So state you're approaching the witness. You want to mark whatever exhibit it is.
And on the previous occasion, did you have an opportunity to give a statement to the to the police department that day?
Yes, I did.
And was it typed out?
Yes.
And was it typed out by a police officer and then you read it and signed it? Is that correct?
Yes.
And I'm going to show you what's been marked State Exhibit number 5. Can you just please review that and tell me if that is the actual typewritten statement and signed by you back on April 23rd, 2017?
Yes, it is.
And I know that you're nervous today. You mentioned that to me.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, in this description, can you read through it? And don't read it out loud, but to yourself. And can you tell me that when you look to the back?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the question. Foundation has not been laid for him to be reading his statement to answer the question.
All right, that objection will be overruled.
For time purposes,
And defense, you may move about the courtroom if you want to see what the statement is that's being shown to the witness.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes.
now previously, I just asked if you remember the race or the of the individual that was in the back in the car behind you in the passenger seat. Do you recall that?
Yes,
And you stated Hispanic.
yes. I thought you were referring to the person in the back seat,
Oh,
not the passenger.
okay.
So that's where we got confused.
That's my bad. I apologize. So let me rephrase my question, and that helped clear it up there.
Yes,
Uh, when you looked to the back and you looked at this vehicle behind you, the front seat passenger,
Mhm.
describe that individual to the jury.
he was African American.
And is this the individual that you stated? What would you determine his age possibly to be?
Well, he looked real young. I would say in his
Objection
20s.
asked and answered.
Overruled.
Now, at any time, if you need to refresh your memory, you can refresh your memory, okay?
Okay.
That's your statement that you gave. And again, is that the statement you gave back in 2017, April 23rd?
Yes,
Now, there was a driver of the vehicle behind you, was there not?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
I'll
Yes.
rephrase the question. Was anybody driving the vehicle behind you?
yes,
And so there was a driver of that vehicle, is that correct?
yes.
And can you describe to the jury that driver?
Female. She looked real young, blonde hair.
And I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, but did you say the color of hair?
Blonde.
Blonde. Thank you. Now, you said that in previous testimony, you said there was some type of scuffle.
Yes.
And can you tell me who could you see participating in that scuffle?
The passenger.
And that is the black or African-American man that you said was in the front passenger seat?
Yes.
And what could you see that individual doing?
Fighting with somebody in the back seat.
I'm sorry,
He was fighting with somebody in the back seat.
in the back seat.
Yes.
Now you've named the two occupants in the front. Can you describe to the jury any occupants that were in the back seat of that vehicle?
I just know there was somebody else in the back seat. I didn't really get a description of that person.
Okay. And you see this scuffle going on. At any point, did you see anything else happening back there?
Yes. I believe the person he was fighting with did exit the vehicle. He was yelling for help.
Person that he was fighting with exit the vehicle yelling for help.
Yes.
And did you, at that time, see what that individual was yelling for help? What did he do?
He was asking for help, yelling for help, and then proceeded to jump on the hood of the car.
And now this is all behind you, right?
Yes.
So as you told the jury, you're turned around and looking this way through the window and you're watching all this
Yes.
unfold behind you at the stoplight.
Yes.
And after the individual jumps on the hood, let me ask you, do you remember if he jumped on the hood like standing or was he on all four, like on his hands and knees? Can you describe to the jury if you remember?
He was on all fours.
On all fours?
Yes.
And at any time, did the light, what happened? Did the light ever turn green?
Yes.
And at that point, what did, I guess Ernest was driving the vehicle. What did he do?
He went right, as I said.
And so you're saying that from this position here, when the light turned green, Ernest took a right.
Yes.
And the vehicle behind you that had the individual on the hood on his hands and knees, where did it go?
It went straight.
So it would have gone straight through the light.
Yes.
And at that point, where did y'all proceed to?
We went right and then we turned into that shopping center that was right there.
The shopping center here?
Yes.
And did you ever see that that vehicle with the individual that was on the hood? Did you see that vehicle again in this parking lot?
No.
Okay. Did you ever see that vehicle again?
Yes, after it had, yes, yes.
Where did you see that vehicle at?
It came out of Chick-fil-A.
And this is, again, this is a 2025 rendition, so it has some awnings here that weren't there before. But did you see it come out of this parking lot?
Yes,
And where did it go?
it went left, once it was straight, so it went left,
Okay,
going
right here.
past, yes, yes.
And then where did it go from there? Do you recall?
It went by whatever store was right there, and then it just left.
Just left.
And then it
Okay.
just left.
And so you're in this parking lot. When you're in this parking lot, did you hear anything?
Yes, we heard one gunshot.
Gunshots? And did that bring your attention to this area by Chick-fil-A?
Yes,
And that's where you just stated that you saw that black vehicle drive through the parking lot.
yes,
And if I can go back to the actual intersection again, when y'all are driving off, did you look back and see anything in the vehicle that individual was on his hands and knees
as we drove off, yes, he was still on all fours.
on all fours? And
Yes.
did you ever see what that front seat passenger, that African American male, was doing when the individual was on the hood and he was driving?
No, not at that time.
Did you ever see anything in that black African American's hands?
Once we drove
Objection
off,
asked and
no.
answered. The first question was,
Overruled.
did you see him?
Overruled.
Oh,
If you could re-ask your question, please?
Yes. May I approach you?
Yes.
I'll ask you to review your statement.
oh, yes. with-
Again,
with the
object to the
windshield.
lack of foundation. It's never been asked whether or not that's necessary.
All right, you can ask your question. I have no idea what the question is because no question has been asked. I don't know what's
See, it's
being
right
shown
there.
to the witness because the court hasn't received information on that.
I'll ask. this
Prosecutor's
question.
just asking him to review, he's instructing the witness to review his statement, having laid no foundation for tendering that document for him to testify from in front of the jury. He's received no instruction about how he's to handle the exhibit while he testifies. That's continued on, and I'm just renewing that objection now that we're back to it.
All right, state, you may proceed.
Thank you. Now, after reviewing this, did you ever see anything in that passenger's hand, that African American that was sat in that front seat?
Yes, he had a gun. Yes,
Okay. And is that in your statement that you gave back in 2017?
yes, it is.
I'm going to show you what state exhibit number 4. One. Have you seen this item before?
Yes,
And can you identify anything in it?
yes, our vehicle's right there.
And that's, you said our vehicle, is that the vehicle that you testified to that you were in that day?
Yes,
And is that the vehicle that Ernest Reyes was driving?
yes,
And also you were the passenger in that vehicle?
yes,
And is this from the day of April 23rd, 2017?
yes,
And right after you saw the black vehicle exit the Chick-fil-A parking lot?
yes.
Your Honor, state would offer state exhibit number 4 as evidence. We'll tender to defense for any objections.
I'd just like relevance, Your Honor.
All right, state relevance.
The relevance is, Your Honor, it leads to their credibility that he was actually there that day and that this was actually what he just testified to, that it confirms that he's in that vehicle passing by soon thereafter of the black vehicle with the murder victim.
All right, could I see the state's exhibit 4, please?
I'm sorry?
Could I
State
see
exhibit number
state's
4,
exhibit
yes.
number 4?
Neither is an issue, Your Honor, and there's already an exhibit of that same vehicle in evidence. So it's cumulative and not relevant.
All right, so defense's objection to number 4 is overruled. State's exhibit number 4 will be admitted.
Yeah, publish, Your Honor.
Yes.
And Mr. Caballero, is this the vehicle that you just testified to that you were in?
Yes.
And where is that vehicle currently? In this photo, where is this vehicle at?
We don't have it no more.
No. Sorry,
Is that
I
what
don't
you
mean
meant?
the actual vehicle.
Oh.
In this photo, where is it located at in this parking lot? Where is it?
It was right outside of the restaurant,
Okay,
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. And is this that Chick-fil-A parking lot?
Yes.
Okay, and this is your vehicle in the behind the Chick-fil-A. Thank you. Now, after y'all drive by, what do y'all do after you drive by, and what do you observe when you're driving by the Chick-fil-A parking lot?
Well, we saw someone laying down on their driveway where the drive-thru was at.
And what did you do at that point?
Well, we went ahead and turned around, parked, and then that's when Ashley and Ro went to go see.
And went to go see the person on the ground.
Yes.
And did you ever approach?
Yes.
And what did y'all do at that point?
I believe Ashley called 911.
Was there any other individuals out in that parking lot?
Yes, there was other few people there as well.
And did you ever touch the person on the ground?
No,
Did you ever try to assist in first aid?
no.
And did you view anything else on or near the person on the ground?
Yes, he had weed on his side, and also it looked like there was weed shoved in his mouth.
And just to be fair, you say weed, is there another like more technical term?
Marijuana?
Marijuana. Okay,
Marijuana.
thank you. And let me ask you, did that person that's on the ground, did they ever speak to you?
No,
Did you ever see any wounds on this individual?
no,
And at any time when you were at the scene, did that individual ever get up or talk to you or talk to anybody?
no.
We'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Defense?
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing?
Good.
Prior to your testimony today, have you spoken with anyone from the prosecution about your case?
No.
Okay, so the questions that were put to you, that's the first time you've spoken to a prosecutor?
Oh, sorry. Yes, we have spoke before.
Okay, and in the course of those conversations, have you reviewed any documents in preparation for your testimony?
Just my statement?
Is that the document Mr. Garahan showed you a moment
Yes.
ago?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
When was the last time you reviewed this?
Today?
Okay, this morning?
Yes.
Okay. And fair to say, this was written on the day that you saw these events you testified to, right?
Yes.
And what you remembered back then was fresher in your memory than what you remember now, correct?
Yes.
And it's fair to say in State's Exhibit 5, marked for identification, you don't mention seeing anybody on the hood of that car on all fours, right?
Not on all fours, but I did mention somebody on the hood.
Yeah, you're right. You mentioned someone on the hood back on April 23rd, 2017, correct?
Uh-huh.
But you don't, anywhere in your statement, say that you saw the gentleman on all fours, correct?
No.
And you spoke to police and would surprise you to learn they didn't write down anything about you seeing someone on all fours, correct?
No, because they didn't ask if he was on all fours. They just said I just said he was on the hood. If they asked if he was on all fours, then I would have said he was on all fours.
It's fairly significant, wouldn't you think? Whether he's on all fours or he's standing up on it?
Yeah, but he wasn't standing.
And you didn't see him stopping on the windshield of the car?
I didn't see the stomping, no.
But it surprised you to learn that other people in the car did?
Yeah.
Well, let's just talk a little bit about your vantage point. You said that you were in which seat of the car?
Passenger.
Front passenger,
Yes.
right? And there are three people on the back bench of the car, right?
Yes.
And the person in the middle seat actually has a child on her lap, correct?
Yes.
So you're looking through all of that to see this altercation, right?
Yes,
You say that when you pulled back around to look at the gentleman that had fallen from the car on the pavement, that you saw marijuana in his mouth.
yes,
And you saw a bag of marijuana next to him, correct?
yes.
How large a bag?
Wasn't that big?
Okay. Size of my fist, smaller,
Maybe a
larger?
little smaller.
Little smaller than the size of a fist? Okay. You never saw anyone shoving marijuana in the man's mouth, did you?
No,
And you, to be fair, you didn't see him eating the marijuana, right?
no,
Sorry?
no.
Okay. But somehow marijuana was in his mouth.
Yes,
Okay. Your view of the back seat of that Kia was also obstructed by the things that were between you and the back seat of that Kia, right?
yes,
You couldn't see all of the occupants fully from they were in the back seat of that car, correct?
yes,
You couldn't see all the things that they were doing, right?
yes,
And you can't say whether there was one gun or multiple guns in that car. You don't know, right?
yes. I don't know.
You recall telling a policeman that the person that you saw in the front seat might be an African American.
No, I said he was. I didn't say might.
Okay. If an officer summarized you as saying that it might have been African American, that would be the officer's mistake, not yours.
Yes,
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
All right, sir, I'm going to show you what I marked solely for identification as defendants number one. And that's you here, right? Paul Caballero.
yes,
That's your date of birth right here.
yes,
Okay. And again, on this page, listing you as W1, that's Paul Caballero. That's you, right?
yes.
And then you'll notice here, if you could just read to yourself this sentence in parentheses.
Mhm.
Let me know when you finish reading it.
This one?
Starting at that word and then reading this sentence in particular emphasis on that portion.
Okay, I read it.
Okay. And again,
I'm gonna object at this point to hearsay and lack of foundation.
I haven't asked the question.
All right. So I don't know what defense exhibit number 1 is.
It's a report that was generated summarizing the statements of Mr. Paul Caballero. And I'm
All right.
showing it to him to see if he is going to accept and adopt the statement that's made or whether he's going to reject it.
And Judge, not to this, he did not write this report.
All right. If I could see defense exhibit number 1, please. All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, defense, you may proceed.
Mr. Caballero, just to be clear, do you recall on the 23rd of April, 2017, telling someone from law enforcement that it was a possible African-American?
No.
Okay. Would it surprise you if someone noted that somewhere?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I want to get back to a couple of other things. We discussed the fact that you were looking backwards through someone seated in the middle back passenger seat of your car and a child on their lap, right?
Yes.
And that you were looking at the car directly behind you, correct?
Yes.
And so from that vantage point, obviously the people in your own car are going to be blocking some of the things you'd otherwise have been able to see. You'd agree with that?
No, because it wasn't that much of a blockage. Actually, it's real short. So when it comes to the back seat of my window, it was as clear. Meaning,
Okay.
like I can see.
But you would agree that there are some things you just don't know, like whether
Yes.
there was one gun or many guns, for
Yeah.
example,
Yes.
how the marijuana got in the man's mouth or on his person.
Yes.
You just don't know those things.
Don't know.
Whether, and you don't know whether those could have been seen at a different vantage point or they just weren't knowable by anybody, right? Let me rephrase the question. Let me back up. You also were outside of your vehicle, right?
Yes.
And you were fixing the gas cap, correct?
Yes.
And that's when you saw the gun.
Yes.
And when the prosecutor asked you at the very beginning, what was the thing that you saw? The first thing out of your mouth was a gun, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Fair to say the gun's the most significant thing you saw about the whole encounter.
Yes.
Okay. You said that that gun was silver, right?
Yes.
You said that the individual that you saw in the front seat had short hair, very short hair, correct? Would you
Yes.
refresh your recollection to recall your statement that you adopted on the 23rd of April, 2027?
Yes.
Or 17?
Yes.
Is that in front of you?
Yes.
Can you review it to yourself briefly and tell me if you noted the length of the hair of the person you saw?
Mhm. Real short hair.
That you told the officer real short hair.
Yes.
Okay. And again, in that same document, you never notated that you never said anything there about being on all fours when the man
No.
was on the hood, right?
No.
And you said that no one asked you that question, right?
Yes, I just said he was on the hood of the car.
And to
I
be fair,
didn't- Mhm.
you didn't tell them at the time, no, go back and rewrite the statement. He was on all fours. You didn't do that
No.
at the time.
No.
You didn't describe anybody as being Hispanic or Mexican, correct?
Uh, yeah, the person in the backseat was Hispanic.
Okay. But you did indicate in your statement that date that you could not see who was in the back seat of the car, right?
Yes.
And you didn't see a backpack, for example.
No, I didn't see a backpack.
You didn't see anybody struggling over some kind of an object like a bag or a backpack, did you?
No, I just saw the scruffle in the back.
Pass the witness.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, is this witness excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, the rule has been invoked. You're not allowed to discuss your testimony with anyone. Do you understand?
Yes,
You're
ma'am.
not allowed to view anything. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you may step down. Remember to leave the mic. All right, thank you so much. All right, state, call your next witness.
State calls Ernest Reyes, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Could you raise your right hand for me? Oh, no problem. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, you can lower your hand. If you'll make sure you keep your voice up so that the jurors can hear. If
Okay.
you'll state your name for the record and spell your last name.
Hello, I'm Ernest Reyes, Reyes.
All right, state you may proceed.
Hey, Mr. Reyes, good voice. You have a voice that travels, so I appreciate
Oh,
that.
thank
So
you.
if you don't mind, keep that up, all right? Sir, I'm gonna go ahead and jump right in and ask you, on April 23rd, 2017, were you traveling with some family and friends?
Yes, correct.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, if we could approach briefly.
Sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what I can tell you is usually when people testify, they don't have masks on, but one of the witnesses, is ill and has some illness. So everyone is just trying to make sure that they're protected against any illness they may have. So that is why. And the first witness, the reason why I asked her to lower her mask because everybody was having difficulty hearing her. But since this witness, no one has informed me that they're having trouble hearing them, I'm allowing them to keep their mask on, and neither the state nor the defense have any objection to their wearing their mask. But that is why you've seen witnesses with masks on, because they're ill. They have some sort of cough. All right, state, you may proceed.
Thank you, Honor. I think the last question you're about to answer is, you're on April 23rd, 2017, you were in a vehicle with some family and friends. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And if you don't mind panning you over to exhibit number 3 that's on the monitor there. Did you end up at that intersection of McCullough and 410 Access Road?
Yes, yes, correct.
And on that particular day, who was driving the vehicle?
It was me.
It was you?
Yeah.
And when you're driving the vehicle, are you the one that was driving on this particular time when you came up to the red light at that intersection?
Yes, correct.
And did you stop the vehicle?
Yes. Came to a complete stop at the red light.
And your vehicle in relation to other vehicles, were there any vehicles around yours?
Yes, one completely in front of me and one directly in back of me.
And at some point during this stop at the light, did your attention get brought to the vehicle behind you?
Yes.
And you recall what type of vehicle that was behind you?
I don't know the make or the model, but I do know it's dark black vehicle.
Okay. And what brought your attention to that vehicle behind you?
A person that was in the vehicle with me was notified that
Objection, hearsay, confrontation.
Sustained.
Let me ask you this. some point you looked at the vehicle behind you. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
How did you look at that vehicle behind you?
Directly through my rear view mirror.
Did you use any other mirrors or devices to look at that vehicle behind you?
I would switch from my rear view from the side mirrors. But it was mainly through the rear view.
I'm going to show you what state exhibit number 1. Is that the vehicle that you were traveling in that day?
Yeah, that's correct.
And who is that driving the vehicle?
Oh, that's me.
That is you?
Yeah.
And who is this in the back?
That is my mother.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then on state exhibit number 2. Show you that one also. Is that the same vehicle?
Yeah, correct.
And can you see individuals that are in the back seat?
Yes, that's my niece and her husband and her child, her kid.
Okay, and just the names of those individuals that were in the back?
Ashley and Raul.
Okay, and then who is this individual standing here?
That's my partner, Paul Anthony.
Paul Anthony,
Yeah.
what do you call him?
I call him Anthony, but his family calls him Paul.
And was that the individual that just testified today?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. So you just testified that your attention was brought to that vehicle somehow, and while you're looking at and through the mirrors of your vehicle, what did you observe?
Yes, it was a clear view. Right away, I saw a passenger waving a pistol, a firearm, directing his attention to the back seat of the car. Because there was an altercation, I'm not sure what was a struggle in the back seat.
Okay, and so let me ask you, you observed this through the mirror.
Yeah, that's correct.
This is not something that you learned from somebody else.
Oh, no.
This is something that you directly saw looking through the mirror.
Yeah, correct.
And what time of day was this? Well, do you remember what time of day?
So once sun was out, it was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay, so it was daylight.
Yeah,
So it wasn't like a nighttime thing where you couldn't see very well.
no.
And so when you're looking, you said you saw the passenger, and which passenger in that vehicle in the back? Was it a backseat passenger or a front seat passenger that you saw with a gun?
A front seat passenger.
And can you give any description of that front seat passenger?
Not a direct, I couldn't point out facial hair, tattoos, or piercings or anything, but it was just a black male.
Black male?
Yeah.
And obviously you just stated, and I'll just need to ask, could you even tell the age? If you can.
Yeah, no.
Okay. And when you're observing this front seat passenger, black male with a gun, you said he was, what was he doing? How was if he's in the passenger seat up there,
Yeah.
and Your Honor, may I just stand here and
Yes.
demonstrate to the jury, if you're that black male with the gun and there's a driver, is that correct?
Yeah, there was a female driver.
A female driver?
Yeah.
And so that I'd be right next to you. So if I'm that female driver and you're that black male with the gun,
Mm-hmm.
do you remember which hand he was using, or if you recall?
Right.
His right hand?
Yeah.
Show the jury what that black male with the gun was doing.
Initially what I did see, he was reaching over like to the back, swinging it and like trying to intimidate somebody that was back there that they were trying to get a control over or something. I'm not sure.
So in the back seat.
In the back seat, yeah.
And so you're saying swing, was the person leaning or was he turned around? How was that individual?
The gun was in his right hand and he was just reaching over, like, you know.
And could you tell if it was passengers in the back seat?
I believe I saw 2 individuals. There might have been 3. But yeah,
There was individuals in the back.
yeah, correct.
And you just stated at least 2, maybe 3.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And did you see any other individual in that car with a gun?
No, no.
I guess to be fair, you couldn't really see all those passengers in the back seat, so you don't know for certain if somebody may or may not have had a gun.
Correct.
Okay. Now, when you see this, I guess, what you described as intimidating or with that gun in the back, towards the back seat, what happened at that time? How long did, well, I'm sorry, let me retract that question. Do you recall how long that interaction happened? Was it?
It seemed to be like quick. Everything happened so fast. I was focused on the light changing. My attention was fixed on the back, the car behind us.
Mhm.
So, just a lot of emotions going on. It was quick.
Okay. And so it was pretty quick, you say, and then anything of significance happened after you viewed that?
I just seen them to look like to be beating on the person in the back seat.
Mhm.
I don't know if he was forced out or pushed out or with me or what, but at that point, he did end up on the access road on the outside of the car.
Okay.
Just yelling, saying, just give me my things, give me my
Objection,
things.
hearsay, confrontation.
All right.
This is excited utterance at this point.
All right, then counsel,
Foundation.
if you lay the foundation for excited utterance and then defense, you can make your objection and the court will make a ruling.
Thank you, Judge. Now, Mr. Reyes, when this individual was yelling just words, was he calm or what was his demeanor?
No, he was in a panic mode. He was just infuriated. Like had a lot of adrenaline.
Was he yelling or was he just saying things like I'm saying now? Was he saying it like that or was his voice elevated?
I don't know, elevated yelling. Wanting his things back, just saying, give me my things, give me my things.
And did he say anything else?
Not at that moment until I saw what happened next.
Okay, well, tell the jury what happened next.
At that point, the light did finally turn green. So the car in front of me did move up and I did get the chance to turn at that light. And at that moment, I was still looking through the rear view. And then even on my side window, my side mirror, because at that point he was on the street. And that's when he went in front of the car and he jumped onto the car. And at that point, it was their time to, take off. And that's when the driver sped off. So as I turned on, I believe it was McCullough Street, that right, he was yelling and screaming as he was on the hood, just saying, help me, please, somebody help me.
Your Honor, I'm going to renew the objection, and while I recognize the court has asked the prosecutor to lay a foundation for excited utterance, that only would resolve the hearsay component. The confrontation component is not satisfied purely by the fact that it's an excited utterance. That is not a Michigan v. Bryant exception, and I would object under confrontation clause independent of my hearsay objection.
All right. State, until the foundation is laid as to who the person is, their identification, their objection is going to be sustained.
Motion to instruct the jury to disregard all the testimony about what the man said on the hood of the car.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're disregards the statement that is attributed to the person who was on the hood of the vehicle.
And motion for mistrial.
Denied.
This person that was on the hood, let's go back to when I believe you used the terminology sped off.
Yeah, correct.
That individual was on the hood at that time?
Yeah, correct.
Do you recall if the end of, how fast would you say, how did the vehicle take off? Did it just take off really fast, or did it just sort of glide out of that intersection?
I would say glide and then pick up speed.
Mhm. Was the individual standing on the hood, or how were they on the hood?
No, at that moment, he was holding on to not lose his balance or fall off the side or So he was holding on to the, I guess where the windshield is at.
Mhm.
He was holding.
He was holding on, okay. And so you, now, when you take a right on McCullough, where do you go from there?
Um, I continue straight and then there's like a shopping center.
Mhm.
And then I take a quick left into the shopping parking lot.
And that's a quick left, and that would be, took a right on McCullough, and then you took a left into this parking lot here.
Yeah, correct.
And then at that point, when you're in this parking lot, what did y'all, where did you drive to?
Well, McCullough, I was taking my time. I was driving slow because I was trying to get this name of the streets and inform like the officers because I believe my niece was on the phone with the police at that time. So I was trying to get the street name because I didn't know. I'm not from that area, so.
Mhm.
As soon as I got onto the shopping mall parking lot, and I just continued straight back.
Okay. And so you just sort of drove through the parking lot?
Yeah, correct.
Did you ever observe or see this vehicle, the dark or black vehicle with the individual on the hood?
Yeah, something. As I was on the header,
And let me bring up exhibit number 3 so you can point it out there and then I'll point here.
yeah, as I was on, when I took that right, I was still looking over my shoulder, like to see, because they continued straight
They continue straight on the access road?
on the access road.
Okay.
So as I was, I was driving like slow, because, like I said, I was trying to get the street name.
Mhm.
I was looking over my shoulder to see like what was, I initially thought they just went all the way straight and continued straight. But as soon as we got in the parking lot,
Mhm.
then I noticed like a little further up that I saw the black car speeding around one of the establishments, like I think it was another building around there.
Okay. And do you see that building, on the map here?
It was like after around here Chick-fil-A,
Okay.
they sped in that direction.
And this direction?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, opposing state exhibit number 3 pointed out that the vehicle, that black vehicle was speeding off this way. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And I'm going to show you what state exhibit number 4 has been entered into evidence. Can you identify that vehicle that's in that photo?
Yeah, that's my vehicle.
That's your vehicle?
Yeah.
Okay. And so this is the vehicle, this is behind the Chick-fil-A, is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
That's state exhibit number 4. And did you hear anything when you were in that parking lot?
Yeah, as soon as I got onto the parking lot, I heard a shot. Could have been 2 shots, but I know I heard a gunshot.
You heard gunshot or gunshots?
I was thinking gunshot.
Okay. And did y'all ever stop?
After I initially went around the parking lot, I think I took a little circle around. That's when we saw the victim on the parking lot of Chick-fil-A. So I did pull over, and then my family members ran to give him aid to see if he needed help.
Now, this person that you classified as a victim that's on the ground, is that the same individual that you had seen on that hood of that vehicle?
Yeah, correct.
And so is that the individual that was yelling at that intersection? Is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
And was it also that same individual that was yelling on the hood as it sped off?
Yeah, correct.
And what did that individual say?
Objection, hearsay, confrontation.
This time we have
Is that an answer?
All right, so
That's an answer.
everyone, you can Remain seated when you make your objections. That makes it easy for the court reporter to hear. And defense, what is your objection?
Well, same objection as before, Your Honor, and I don't think they've laid any additional foundation for what the court has indicated as concern.
All right, and state.
State with the argument, one, he's been identified. Two, it is the individual that's deceased. And three, it's a dying declaration. This is an individual that is actually subsequently dies in that parking lot. Your
All
Honor.
right, with regards to dying declaration,
Yes, Your Honor, dying declaration is also not an exception to confrontation. There's an additional finding that the court would need to make, and if that kind of an issue needs to be addressed, I would request that we have a hearing outside the presence.
all right, ladies and gentlemen, if you can step outside for a moment, please. Remember my previous instructions.
Rise for retreat.
Everyone, please be seated.